So tell me again, why have I built this? Watch and find out. Hi and welcome to another episode, and what we've got here is a Sound Blaster AE-9. I'll show you a photo of it and the thing that's sat on the desk. I'm not moving all my desk around at the moment just to do this. Maybe I should, but it's a rat nest of cables as it is. The point is, I want to get this into my computer. Now my old computer, which is basically the broom handle, axe handle sort of thing, yeah, I've upgraded yet again recently. I've moved from an X299 motherboard up to a, what is it now, a Z790 motherboard. So the point is, we have a look at the motherboard, and we've got the Asus ROG Strix Z790H gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. The PCIe slot across the top obviously fits my graphics card, which happens to be a 4090, so it's a big chunky old thing. So it takes up nearly all the slots up to where the PCIe 3X1 slot is. That's the little one in the middle there. Yes, Asus has put the wording in the wrong order compared to what the slots are. Go figure. But anyway. And then we have the slot at the bottom, which is a PCIe 4X16 slot. Now, the top slot, I have the graphics card, as I say, but in the bottom slot, I've actually got this thing. If I can show it you. Where's the mouse gone? There we go. It's the Asus Hyper M.2 X16 Gen 4 card, which basically means I get a chance of having some more NVMe slots. Now, on my old motherboard, it could support 3 NVMe's, and this thing supports 4 on the X299 range. It seems on the Z70 range, it only supports 2, which is neither here or there in the realms of things. It's PCIe bus lanes, blah blah blah, load of nerdy stuff I even don't want to get into. The point is, it is supported on there, but as you can see, it's a full X16 slot that it needs, so it goes into the bottom one of the motherboard. So let's go back to the motherboard so we can talk about how am I going to get this sound card in there, because yes, it'll fit, there's space for it to fit, but the point is the size of it strangles the first fan pretty much 100%, and then the second fan, because it's a 3-fan affair, the second fan, it covers up a fair bit of that as well, and it's right next to it, so it'll suffocate it. Yes, air can get in, we all know air can get in, but it will end up not fresh air. This creates a bit of heat of itself as it is itself, so yeah, it's better that the graphics card, especially something as powerful as it is, gets a lot of fresh air going towards it, in the hopes of it'll pull through cooler air to help cool the GPU down. So we need to move this to somewhere else. And my idea was, okay, can I mount this vertically? My case doesn't have a vertical slot, and even if it could, trying to get like a ribbon cable from an X1 PCI sleeve slot to another X1, I can't find them. I can find X16s, but I can't find an X1. And even so, if it did, it would have to come up and over the NVMe expansion board, I should say, PCI board. So I need something a bit neater, a bit smoother, look hopefully a bit nicer. So what I did was purchase this, because I will show you this and then I'll explain of where in the case I'm planning on putting it. Now, first things first, you get given a SATA to 6-pin. Do not use this. It's disgusting that they're getting away with even putting these in here. All companies that do this are doing you a disfavor, because SATA, as much as, yes, electricity runs on copper and wires and stuff, SATA is not set for the amount of wattage that 6-pin needs. It's just not done, it's not there. So do not use this cable. Do not use any cable of any PCIe riser card thingy that you can get. Do not use it. Don't bin it straight away, because obviously you need to test if this works and everything. I've purchased this from Amazon. You know, you need to be able to send it back under warranty, blah, blah, blah. But do not use it. Promise me you're not going to use this. Write it in the comments down below. You're not going to use this. What you're going to use is a decent power supply unit that has enough ports at the back of it and enough cables that come with it that support 6-pin, so you can directly power this thing directly from the PSU. No funny other cables in between, just a cable from the back of the PSU into this thing. Promise me, please. Because the sad truth is, at the very least, you're going to melt the cable and the board and whatever you plugged into it. A little bit of a step up from there is you're going to lose your computer. What's more worryingly is, or what is more worrying is you could burn your house down. Literally, you could burn your house down. So that's the end of the serious thing. I've told you, I've warned you. If you don't listen to me, on your own head be it. Now, what I want to point out with this board is when you buy something like this, buy one with more caps than you can count, because you need them. The boards where they only have like 2 or 3, maybe 4, they're known for burning themselves out, because again, they're not set up for the amount of power that actually needs to go through the 6-pin. It would actually sort of be used like this in the realms of, because that's the back end, if you can think of it like that way, of, you know, back of your computer if it was on the motherboard. So what you end up with is this gadget of fun stuff. This one happens to have a little regulator on it that tells you what the temperature is, and a little button so you can skip backwards and forwards between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Let's be honest, computers, you should be using the SI model anyway, so use Celsius. I say SI, I know, I'm only joking with you, but the point is, everything else on your sensors on your computer probably reports in Celsius, so use that. The thing is though, is that it faces the other way. It's actually upside down at the moment, to me, when it lights up. It's kind of a shame you can't keep pressing the button like 4 times so you can cycle through Fahrenheit, Celsius, and then Fahrenheit, Celsius upside down, whichever way they want to think it is, but doing that. And then there's some red LEDs over here that explain stuff. There's no manual, there's no nothing. You need to sort of do a bit of research on what these things are and how to use them. This, on the other hand, sits in your motherboard. So if you pretended that this was the slot of your motherboard, it would sit in it like that. So this bit is the useless bit, as it were, and that would be heading towards the back. That's where the back plate is. So remember that, because it's important. Because you can do something stupid like that and burn your computer down. So don't. Make sure you've got it the right way around. Again, this is the back of the computer, the little plasticky bit with no copper edging on it, no bits on it. That goes at the front. The USB is the bit that will be pointing towards the bottom of your motherboard as it goes into the case like that. So when it's in, this bit needs to be filling up that gap, all of it. And when you are messing around doing it, make sure your computer's completely turned off. That includes the switch and the power supply unit. And if your power supply unit doesn't have a switch, make sure you're turned off at the wall and you've given it a few seconds for the capacitors to be drained a fair bit. Now, the point is that goes into your computer. The thing is though, as you can see, there's no backplate. So what I also purchased, and get this plastic bag open, is some of these. Now you could 3D print these off if you've got a friend or you've got, 3D print it yourself, but I bought these because they're injection molded. And as we know, 3D printed stuff can snap a bit of force on it, even as good as it might be. It's great for prototyping, but can be a little bit not so forgiving when you want something to be quite firm. So you put this just over the top like this, so it sort of catches on the side there. Bring it up a little bit maybe. Does it focus? There we go. You can see enough, even though if it is a bit blurred. It fits in there, and then it'll catch. I'll take it off here for the moment because I don't want it to be firm on there. But what it will do on your computer, hopefully, is that it will sort of catch underneath the PCIe slot. It does do on mine. It's an awful lot of fiddling to take it back off again. But the point is, it holds it in place, because what you don't want is that sort of thing to happen. Even though you've pushed it in properly, the USB cable might move around as you're moving all this inside your computer. Right, so we imagine that that's plugged into here, that way around, and that's plugged into here. Right, but before you plug that into the computer, get your card and slot that in. Now, of course, you do that, this is just going to wobble all over the place. So what I did was, where the holes are, I cut a little bit out so that I can put a screw all the way through, because obviously what I want access to is the mounting holes. And then, oh, whippy whoop woo, close your eyes, open up again. That's exactly what I did. See, no jump cuts. This is how it works, and it's all falling to bits over there. But now I've mounted it. Now you'll notice this particular stand, I don't know if there's better ones out there, but this particular stand came with this little kit of things, and it were already installed, but the rubber feet were already installed on the bottom of here. Now the rubber feet are probably fine, but I want something that if the computer is accidentally nudged or something like that, this isn't going to fall over, because obviously there's exposed circuit board bits and everything. You're not really supposed to be doing this inside of a computer. I don't want any shorts to be happening. So what I did was buy a box of magnets where there's some 3M double-sided sticky tape, little pad things. You stick one on the magnet and then you line up for the magnet. I recommend that you figure out where all the screws are going to go and everything for mounting the board first, before sticking the feet on. You know, take the other feet off first, put this on, figure out where it's all going to screw in, including this little stand post thing, and then you see magnets, hence why that magnet's offset, because otherwise it would cover up that hole for where the post is. You will also notice that the mounting screws on this particular riser is not in parallel. That one's down a little bit. These ones are in parallel. But the problem is if this was actually screwed into this line here, that screw would need a hole a bit further down, and there's no hole currently anyway of where the other screw goes. Nothing matches up. Why? I do not know. You would have thought whoever designed this would design it around the realms of how the other things, I mean, why they've got holes here. It could just do with a few more holes, let's put it that way. And also, whoever designed this PCIe riser, I don't know why I didn't just move that up a little bit, because that trace there doesn't seem to go anywhere. I think they could have just not used it, maybe. I don't know, but it doesn't actually reach the LEDs. It just sort of there as if it was going to do something and decided not to. But there might be sort of layers in between or something like that. Now anyway, the point is that this particular board has been out for a while. It'd be nice if the people that make these things matched it up so that it could all be sat perfectly straight and, you know, nice. Whinge over on that. So what we need to do then though is plug our card in, realize that the back plate does go down that slot there, so this is roughly where it all needs to be screwed in. Yes, the card is sitting at a slight angle, because obviously the PCI riser is at a slight angle. So the post also needs to sort of be at a bit of a funny angle. Let's try to make sure it's all in properly. I've managed to make all this fit. So basically the post ends up being at a funny angle as well, even though it's all the way across. It'd be nice if that was, I said whinge over, didn't I? I lied. It could do with being a little bit further across as well. I might take it to bits again at some point and file that down. I'm sure it's possible. Just so that the post is nice and straight. Point is though, you mess around until it's all nice and tight. The card is in there, the magnet's in there. The little parts of where the post screws in and where the screws for the PCIe riser screw in, they're just at the right height compared to the magnets of where they're not interfering with each other. So now we've got our sound card at a funny angle. The problem is that we need to get it out the back of the case. Now the case I have, as I will show you now, is a Cooler Master C700P. And if there's any dashes in there, I can't remember. Now across the bottom there you can see that there's sort of like a shielding area for the PSU, so that it's got no extra bits of air and everything else with it, airflow, stops dust getting onto it, blah blah blah. Well, not all dust, but the majority of the dust. It hides it away. With the magnets, that's why I wanted them, because that will just go clunk on it, and because there's quite strong magnets all over the place, it's not going to rock and fall off. Now, the bottom PCIe on the motherboard actually reaches the second to bottom slot on the back end of the case. So the bottom slot I can leave empty. And now that I've left that empty, the thing is, you see, this is vertical inside the case. It's not entered in like that, it's just sat there. The problem is all these now have no access to the outside world. Or what you can do is buy a bunch of cables and adapters so that we can. And of course I've dropped that on the floor now. Let's try again. Creak, creak, creak of the chair, sorry. Now we can plug these in, which way is which. These are actually twisty, so these are a good one to have, so that gives you the right angle no matter which way round the port actually is. I mean, I can do that with it even though it's plugged in. I can make it go the other way. So they're good, and they do work. I've tested them. So both of those can be plugged in. Have I gone and twisted it so it can't? That's a bit silly of me. There we go. So they're in now, ready to be used. So basically the Toslink cables can come up, because these are inside the case at the moment, they can actually come up and in, or I can buy some short Toslink extension cables and so they'll dangle out. I don't actually really use Toslink too often, so I haven't really bothered looking into that at the moment, but it could be done. I know you can get short Toslink cables, but also I know that my Toslink cables are long enough to go to the case. Then I've also purchased the, let's undo this rat nest of cables, two, maybe a little bit too long, right angled 3.5mm jacks, two, female ones. So they can dangle out the case and be ready for my back left, back right, center and sub speakers. This one, because of the way that this sound card is, this is my front left and right using RCA right angles to 3.5mm, so that I can get my front left and right, as I say. And then this bit's a bit of a funny one. Let's take this adapter off for now. I'm sure you probably figured it out, the fact I've took the adapter off. But basically, the control thingy that sits on your desk for this sound card uses HDMI mini or mini HDMI. Right, first time mini HDMI to connect with the box. Now I've bought a short cable with a right angle on it because I don't want to overdo the resistance of it going through to the box. So I've kept it short. But this cable goes to full-size HDMI. I couldn't find one which was mini HDMI to female mini HDMI. So what I've done, when that plugs in there, I let's make sure it's done properly. I bought an adapter that goes from full-size HDMI down to mini HDMI, and that connects up to the box on your desk, and that works perfectly fine. Yet again, I have tested it. There's nothing wrong with it. I have tested all this up, so you end up with, let's borrow this cable from this one for now. You end up with this sort of affair of doing it, and obviously you've got your funny little adapter that holds down the USB. That's how it works, because there's no back plate, as I say, so you know it's a bit of a reassurance that this isn't going to be at a funny angle poking around. So that goes in there, that goes into your motherboard, and then this is sat on the bottom you know, for the cover for the PDSU. So that's all good. The power supply, the one that I use, is actually daisy chained. The main part of the power goes into I've got that going into the bottom, and then the daisy chain part I've got going into here because it needs power so that it can feed the thing on your desk. And apart from that, I've had it on the outside of my case for a couple of weeks now. It's been working perfectly fine. No problems, no cables have melted, there's no been funny burning smells. Because I'm not using this, I've told you once, stop it, stop thinking about that cable. Do not use it. Point is, it all works perfectly fine. So I'll put a link to all the daft bits of cables and everything like that. Sure, I could find, it'd be nice to find a shorter one of these, a couple of them, just so it matches up a bit more with the length of the other ones. But it's no big deal. The point is, it does its job. It all just dangles out the back of the computer. I probably will buy some Toslink extension cables, little ones, so that they can dangle at the back of the computer as well. Yeah, it just works. The computer sees it the way that it's supposed to. The drivers are fine with it. All the sound works. It's a bit of an interesting way, I think, of getting everything working. Yeah, sure, it looks like the Sound Blaster's on display because now when you look through the glass door, you get to see this. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. I don't care. People show off their sound cards, vertically mounted, everything. Not sound cards, their graphics cards, vertically mounted. I happen to have a vertically mounted sound card. There's only me that really looks at the computer anyway. It works, so jobs are good. In the midst of all that, look in the description for the links for the daft bits I've bought. Look for the links to the Patreon. It'd really be nice if you signed up for that. Look for the links to Discord. Come along, have a chat. Maybe have a bit of a game on a Friday, Saturday evening, UK time. That's sort of 6 o'clock until about 10 o'clock that we do that. And also, without a doubt, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But as always, happy gaming. And for those that actually wait through the end credits, this is what it looks like in my computer.